and I'm happy with the victory.
I got a question for you, George.
Go for it.
I was watching the fight, and it looked like in the third, you came up for the third round. You knew you were ahead 2-0. You were going to make him press action. Is that right?
No, I was going after him.
No, the third round you were sitting back a little.
No.
At first, I was like, oh, he knows he's got the lead. He's going to let him make a mistake.
No, you know what? I didn't want to rush in there and make any stupid mistakes. So I was cautious, and I wanted to, because it's something I've worked a lot with my boxing, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu trainers. Rushing in is a flaw that can get you into a bad situation. It's something that we talked a lot about, and with Kurt, in a lot of his other fights, guys who rush in, he's able to capitalize, and that's I didn't want to give him that opportunity. So I was playing it smart.
Question is for Brock. You talked about the what the past year, what you've been through. You were sick, you fought back, you overcame it, and you're coming back 100%. And then tonight you find yourself in a similar situation, but in a cage this time. You're down and you have to fight back. Is this like a theme that's going on with you, that you have to keep digging down and fight back?
My last fight was. It's been a roller coaster ride all over the place, but the thought crossed my mind when I was underneath there that I've been through a lot, and to weather that first round, I thought to myself, this isn't how it's going to end. I got to keep moving down here. He was strong on top. I'll give it. He outboxed me. He got me, and I'll be the first one to tell everybody that. That's just the way it is. But. Yeah, it's been a crazy year. I've been through a lot, and I wasn't going home without this thing, that's for sure, tonight.
You talked about not boxing the way you wanted to. I'm sure you're going to take a lot from this fight and look at the things you did wrong. Will we be seeing an even better Brock Lesnar in the future? Because I'm sure you're going to be working on those things.
Well, I don't know if was I better tonight than I was a year ago. I would hope to think I am. Each win is, you got to put it behind you and move forward, and we'll train and we'll keep doing the right things. And I'm a wrestler. I'm a wrestler. I'm trying to evolve, and so is it pretty remarkable that I've only got 6 fights and I'm the UFC heavyweight champion? Absolutely, it is. But I've got a lot of room to grow. I'll be the first one to tell you.
And my final question is for Stephan. And one, I want to know how soon are you going to be back? Port's here, so he wants to know how soon you're going to be back in Bristol. That's one. And second, more importantly, you have been really on a skid. How good does it feel to finally get back in the win column? How important is that to you?
Franklin, I'm on like cloud 9 right now. You have no idea. I'm about as high as you could get. And, I got to give Christoph some credit. He put a good fight on. He actually, I don't remember when it was, but he hit me so hard. I remember my head went back. I saw the lights, and when I tried to refocus, I couldn't see anything for a good 45 seconds. In the Rocky movie, they say, oh, I'm seeing 3 of them. That's what I was thinking. Should I see 3 of them? I can't see shit. So I just put my hands up. But, yeah, you have no idea. The feeling right now just to get a win, man, it means the world to me. I'm really in heaven. This is better than sex. Oh, yeah, and then I'll be back in Bristol in 2 weeks. And I talked to Port about doing a Franklin McNeil grill, Roast. Yeah, we're going to roast you, Franklin. Looking forward to it.
Question for Dana and then one for Brock. Dana, you mentioned that Shane Carwin went to the hospital. Is there a specific injury that he's taking over that?
No, when he went back there, he was. I think he was more fatigued and upset, and he was hyperventilating, and they were going to take him to the hospital. I don't think there's anything seriously wrong with him.
And Brock, you mentioned that moving forward, Dana mentioned that your next opponent is Cain Velasquez. Your thoughts on a potential matchup with Cain Velasquez, and by the way, it's Cain Velasquez. So
really cool.
Your thoughts on Cain as your next opponent?
We'll talk about that when we get there.
Over to the right. This question's for Brock and Dana. Brock, you just talked about the last 8 months, obviously, but talk about when you first came to the UFC. Dana, you took obviously a little bit of a risk by bringing Brock in and giving him a title shot so early. Just talk about his evolution. You know, Brock, you said you're a wrestler, but tonight he showed he's a mixed martial artist, and show maybe how proud you are, Dana, and Brock, of your own performance, just showing the full, array of skills.
Yeah, I listen. He came in, and I've told this story many times. He came to one of the events, and he said he wanted to talk to me.
I begged him for a job, is what I did.
we went into a back room and talked, and he said, "I want to fight in the UFC," and I said, "Brock, you only got." He said, "You only got one fight." I said, "This isn't the place to learn how to fight. You got to fight in the smaller organizations." And someday he goes, "I did. They suck. I don't like it. I want to fight here." He says, "I'm either good at this or I'm not, and I want to find out." And it was interesting, and I thought about it, and I made the decision to bring him in, and wow, yeah, I'm very impressed and blown away with what he's been able to accomplish in such a short amount of time.
And tonight in particular, how the first round went, how he actually ended up winning the fight in the second round.
No doubt about it, and a lot of the questions going into this fight were about ring rust. And I'm a big believer in ring rust. One of the reasons I like the Lieben deal, I like guys to keep fighting and stay active as long as they're healthy. And but with a guy like Brock Lesnar, who only has 5 fights, and he's still learning, and he learns every time he goes into a camp, he learns something new. I don't know if you can apply ring rust to a guy like Lesnar.
Question for Brock.
You got anything? No.
Question for Brock down here. You had a lot of people from your WWE career in attendance today. Stone Cold, JR, everybody pretty much who was important in your career was here. What does it mean to you to get their support still after so many years?
It's pretty remarkable, I'm honored to have them there as a guest. It was pretty cool, These guys. I'm not an idiot. Without the WWE, with the visibility I had, the television time, Dana wouldn't have gave me a second look. There's no way. I'm just another guy, But with, I wrestled in all 50 states and in 13 different countries, and my face was plastered on a television screen for 4 years, all over the world, So I just had to bring credibility to the table, and my amateur wrestling background gave me that. Other than that, I'm just another guy, So I got to thank Dana and the UFC for sticking their neck out and saying, well, and I know in the back of Dana's mind and Lorenzo's mind that, well, let's just give this guy a shot, and I know they threw me to the wolves. He said, we're not going to give you any easy fights. They were going to make an example of me. Absolutely, I know the thought crossed his mind.
No, we're going to make an example of James Toney. I hope he's not in here, man. I don't have to listen to him right now.
But obviously, I knew what the risks were getting into this, and my first fight didn't go the way I wanted it to. I showed, a little bit of something, and here we are.
Dana, my second question actually is about James Toney and Randy Couture. Tony comes into MMA basically without a record so far. It's his first fight, and he's fighting one of the icons of the UFC.
Without a record for what?
In MMA. It's his first fight.
Right.
Normally you would expect that he'd get an easy opponent first, basically to test the waters to see where he stands. How did you get that fight licensed by a commissioner? Well,
it's true. The reality is that Brock Lesnar, and it's true what he said, the guy came in and had never fought, and we gave him a tough fight in his first fight. You come in with one fight, and the same thing's going to happen to James Toney. Brock Lesnar came in with one fight and had a wrestling background and was starting to train in these other things. James Toney's been an accomplished fighter for many years, and he's training in mixed martial arts now. James Toney's a real fighter. And listen, James and I go back and forth. He's mad at me right now, and he's going to be more pissed off after what I just said. But the reality is, I am not so delusional that I don't think that anything can happen when two big guys get in there and start throwing punches.